Tinubu's residents were seen in this video, now making the rounds on social media, queuing for palliatives in front of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's residence on Bodilon Road in Ikoyi on Christmas Eve. Let's take a look. This is exactly what we're talking about.
And that's what I was saying. Police is even there, but they can't control. They are always on the road. See, Bodilon is supposed to be a free road that you can move on. I know, but if anything happens, you get, it could affect anybody. So, and this is the president. This is a recent one. He's become president here.
Yeah.
Police could not even manage the crowd from not being on the road.
Yeah.
You cannot see what I was saying, that we have a culture of crowd control in general. If that, the president is the president. He has access to all the security and everything. They cannot control that crowd. Most of those people are already on the road. That's why that car is slowing down.
Right. So, you know, I mean, this is what we're talking about. And, you know, the president actually did say that he blames the organizers for the people that died in the stampede during your media chat. But we want to know, were these people invited by the president? It's a tradition, really, for you to see these people queue up in front of the president's house, especially on Christmas Eve. Before you speak, Dr. Abati, I just want to make this comment by the Catholic Bishop of Sokoto Diocese, Matthew Kuka, who in his Christmas message yesterday said that the stampedes at palliative distribution centers reflect desperation among Nigerians. He added that the incident could have been avoided if the government had addressed the economic hardships faced by Nigerians. Dr. Abati.
Okay, first let me start with Bishop Matthew Hassan Kuka. He was right to say that the stampedes that we have experienced, either in Ibadan or Anambra or the Federal Capital Territory, represent, to use his own expression, a metaphor for despair. That, you know, Nigerians are in very dire straits and government has a responsibility to look after them. A total of about 67 persons have died just during this Christmas period alone in Nigeria, in Oyo, Anambra, and the FCT. However, he made some other points. He praised the government's students' loan scheme, which is one of the things that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was talking about, NEL Fund, and how that is benefiting a lot of people. He also talked about the problem of ethnicity, nepotism, and greed in his Christmas message. And Bishop Kuka has been very consistent in that regard. And then he also talked about the need for internal democracy, particularly among the political parties. And I think that's very important. We just spoke to Dr. Salihu Lukman, and the residual point that he was making is about the need for internal democracy. He had to leave the APC because he had issues about internal democracy within the party. And it's not only the APC, I guess they have such issues also in other political parties. So Bishop Kuka is right on point, the way you have quoted them about the despair in the land, the poverty, the deprivation, the epidemic of dispossession, of empty pockets, the crisis of empty pockets, the pandemic of empty pockets that is afflicting all of us. But as to the point about the crowd in front of President Tinubu's Bodilon residence, well, it's not only during Christmas that they come there. They are there almost routinely because I take that route oftentimes and I see them always there. They just want to come and collect palliatives. Maybe they are not as many as this on a daily basis, but they are always going there to look for palliatives. Now, if you don't see them in front of the Bodilon residence, you see them there's a church, St. Leo's Church, by Falomo. There's an entrance to the church where on a regular basis also, you see people gathering just to collect food.
Absolutely.
And that's part of the initiative of the Catholic Church to serve the poor. However, the difference between this and the stampedes that we've been talking about is that if you check the people in front of the president's residence, you find security people there. The police, OP Mensa, soldiers, civil defense. I thought I saw the civil defense there. So even with the picture, with the video graphic presentation, there was also some kind of control at that occasion. Yeah. But the point that we should not all run away from is that, one, there is hunger in the land. And these people, they've taken it on a regular basis to the doorstep of the president.
Absolutely.
To remind him that they are hungry.
Ebing power.
Yeah, you got that Yoruba very well.
Ebing
this
power.
morning. Yes, you got it well. And then secondly, that something has to be done about the hunger in the land, food security. And third, that those who give out palliatives should ensure that there is proper organization. Yeah. Nobody should die in this country because of a bag of rice. They used to give out 50 kg bags of rice at Christmas. I think the thing has gone down now to 25 kg, 10 kg, 5 kg. Somebody even had the audacity to send me a 10 kg bag of rice.
When was that?
For Christmas.
Who did that?
Better thank you.
Thank you.
Better thank you.
10 kg.
Dr. Abasi, 10 kg bag of, okay, well. Again, speaks to the economic hardship in Nigeria. Again, well, talking about Christmas Day wasn't such a great Christmas for a lot of people around the world. Well, in Gombe State, over 22 people were injured on Wednesday when a vehicle rammed into a Christmas procession along Bauchi Road in Tamfure. The Gombe State police spokesperson said the incident occurred around 2 p.m. when a car loaded with rice veered off the road and struck the crowd. The driver, whose identity remains unknown, fled the scene as a mob set the vehicle on fire. This was a really sad incident again. Thank God, there were no deaths recorded at this point, 22 people injured, but during Christmas, this is not the sort of thing that you want to hear. Not at all. Well, also in Anambra State, the police have confirmed the abduction of Justice Azuka, a member of the Anambra State House of Assembly. He was kidnapped on Tuesday night in Onitsha while returning home. Meanwhile, a video showing the moment after family members traveling in 3 different vehicles to their hometown were kidnapped has made the rounds on social media. Let's take a look.
Kidnap so afọ security ndị so sonso udo ka nwa na ofu ndị agụlele ka a na-afọ ebe a onwe onye isu na onwe onye other security na ebe a ya moto ndị kidnap okita n'ụzọ isu na anala onwe ha Christmas moto ite anụ a onwe security afụl sonso udo ka nwa udo ka na ofu onye agụlele abịakwa na-akwụfushi ụgwọ today bụ 25 akwụsị ike ifta na ala ọlụ ajọs no half ụzọ ya moto ite kidnap ndị na n'ime na nwaanyị a na-evolujie ya hafia maka na half the woman.
My heart goes out to this family. They were going home. You saw their food, everything there. The police must buckle up in Anambra State, especially. Like the person who was filming said, there were no security officials on the road. On Christmas Day, they should have beefed up security at that moment. Let me take this tweet from a 99% oppressed who wrote, even on Christmas Day, of all days, they still come out to kidnap. How can you kidnap an entire family just because of ransom? Husband, wife, little children, house help, and extended family members going peacefully to their village. This kidnapping thing needs to stop in the southeast, most especially Anambra State. 90% of the kidnappers are local Igbo boys who see kidnapping as means of making quick money. This is such a sad situation again, speaks to the economic hardship people are facing in Nigeria. You go out, you kidnap just because of quick money. Well, in another development, reactions have trailed the killing of over 10 civilians in Silame local government area of Sokoto State by military fighter jets said to be targeting the Lakorora terrorist group. Amnesty International has called for a thorough investigation. Let's take their tweet. They wrote, the Nigerian authorities must conduct a thorough independent and impartial investigation of the military airstrike that killed at least 10 people at 2 communities in Silame local government area of Sokoto State. The President Bola Tinubu's government must promptly set up an independent inquiry into Silame local government area villages, airstrike, and where these investigations indicate criminal responsibility, ensure that those suspected to be responsible are brought to justice in fair trials. The Nigerian military has consistently failed to thoroughly, independently, impartially, transparently, and effectively investigate these incidents that have become a vicious cycle for villagers constantly living with the fear of the next attack. Victims and their families must be provided with access to justice and effective remedies. I mean, this was the main point, really. I mean, we need that investigation. It's not the first time that we're hearing. 10 people, needless death. I mean, it didn't need to happen. And that, statement from the military saying they were targeting the terrorist group. They were not terrorists, they were civilians. What happened there?
So in 2023, Human Rights Watch had noted in Nasarawa State and in Kaduna State, it had friendly fire from the military Air Force to Nigerians living in communities. I recall that we talked about this at length. And the reason why we call for independent, impartial investigations like Amnesty International has done is to avoid these occurrences from happening again. That's why we call for it. But what they said, the military's response is that they identified through intelligence reports that there were terrorists in Lakurawa local government area in Sokoto State. And based on that information, decided to attack on Christmas morning, yesterday, about around 7 a.m. But what the villagers on ground have said, including some community leaders, is that there were peaceful people there. And the military made a mistake, made an error, and bombed innocent people, killing 10 people. So it's one story versus the other. And when this happens, the best way to get to the bottom of it or to get the truth is to conduct an investigation. If indeed the Air Force is culpable, we're not saying that, oh, they are evil, they are bad. We've praised the efforts of the military a number of times here on this show. It is that let us have an investigation so that we understand what the real issues are. This kind of bombings, 3 incidents in the space of 1 year or less than 18 months, it doesn't make sense. So that's what we're calling for. I stand by the tweet by Amnesty International. I mentioned that earlier today. Let an investigation be conducted rather than just a knee-jerk reaction to the first response, which is denial by the military.
Right. You wanted to say something?
Okay, I want to say something, and that's why what the president said that day was very bad. You see, when I was mentioning that thing, that day, a lot of people say Rufai Yahweh is mad, it's this and that. I know what I'm saying. In a country where the president just comes, I'm not saying don't praise the military. Nigerian army, my round of applause for you, the great work you do at keeping this country together. But when a president sweepingly absolves the military of anything and says there's no need for a probe, it's an assault. As a day when I was saying it, I was even just talking about the Okwama case. But this case now crept up. Please, President Mia said we're going to probe the military. I think they should be probed on this matter.
Right.
Because in the end, what always happens is that, Oji, and I'm saying this based on the RAN incident and also the incident that happened recently, nobody is probed. You just come with these stupid visits of sorry to the victims. And nothing happens in the end. We can't continue to live our country this way.
All right.
Okay, I'll just give a small footnote. I commented on this earlier when the story came up. The first thing is that, look, we're dealing with asymmetrical warfare, very unconventional. And in this kind of situation, there is likely to have this kind of mistakes. It has happened before, it has happened now, it's likely to happen again. The responsibility of the armed forces is to make sure that they recognize the nature of the warfare. They've been talking about technology. In other places, they need to deploy the necessary technology to make sure that this level of collateral damage does not occur.
Absolutely.
Now, they say, about the Lakurawa, there's also a peculiarity about the Lakurawa. They are already embedded in these communities. So, and you also find some of these communities accommodating them in a classical case of the Stockholm Syndrome that we have seen in Nigeria, either in the plateau or also now in Sokoto State. So when these people are embedded in the community, they set up their own individual taxation system Now, the military finds itself in a very difficult place to sift the wheat from the chaff and operate, under the international conventions that says persons who are not involved in combat, civilian population should be protected.
Absolutely.
These are the lines.
Right.
So these difficulties, are part of the difficulties of the operation.
Absolutely. I mean, but the military should ensure that they sift out those terrorists so that we don't have these needless deaths. May their souls rest in peace.